Warning: this episode contains graphic depictions of violence. Listener discretion is advised. As I stare down at the sniveling mass of pathetic witch that is Margo, I ponder on the fact that this is one of the few times Rosalind Beckett and I are on the same page. For once, Roz does some of the dirty work. After the excitement of Sam nominating me for High Priestess died down, Maureen dismissed the coven, but asked that Roz and I work together to figure out what to do with Margo. I'm sure Maureen thought we'd drive her to the police station, fearing that Alexis would rat us out when Margo doesn't also get turned in. But I don't think Maureen's aware that I put the fear of, well, me, into Alexis before I let Mr. Giggles carry her off toward the county sheriff. Alexis knows she's lucky to be alive. Margo doesn't have the luxury of that thought. Roz marches in front of me through the dry foliage, holding a torch with one hand and dragging Margo behind her with the other, making no attempt to be quiet. There's no need. We are in God's country now, in the bosom of the Boston Mountains where screams echo into the wind. Not that Margo can do any screaming. I gagged her before we started our trek, just to make her uncomfortable, to make her last moments that more miserable. If anything, we want to make noise. We want the mountain to know what we are doing tonight. Margo stopped fighting against Roz 10 minutes into the trek. I'm not sure if she's saving the last of her energy for one last try when we get to where we're going, or if she knows she deserves this. Either way, I'm on my toes, my energy high-strung and ready to make her bleed one way or the other. Growls fill the air around us, stalking behind us, waiting for their prey. Domino and his pack are impatient for Margo, but her fear knowing that they're there, knowing what fate awaits her, God, it's so intoxicating. Fear is absolutely like whiskey. Burns going down, but holy shit, can I just revel in its afterglow. I siphon off Margo's fear a sip at a time. Don't want to just numb her of the experience. The growls fade away. That's our signal. We're here. Roz lets Margo's head flop on the ground as she releases her. She turns toward me, her face glowing orange with the firelight.
Let's be quick about this.
What's your hurry? You know the Howlers won't be in a rush? She frowns and her body tightens.
I may lose my nerve and change my mind.
Oh, you have no problem letting me kill her, but when you're part of the premeditation, you get squirmy. Good to know one of us still has moral conflicts. She raises an eyebrow at that.
Jealous of my ethical quandaries? You know, it's never too late to turn back to the light.
I never turned my back to the light. The light left me.
For a reason, Jade.
But if I chose to take the lily-white path right now, who would be here to do your dirty work? She looks down at Margo, anger radiating from the fire in her eyes.
Margo practiced human sacrifice in the name of a demon. Her fate was sealed the first time she spilled blood.
Tit for tat, then. Your conscience can be at ease. I squat down in front of Margo, smiling. I'm going to untie you now. If you run, you know what awaits you. I release her hands. She pulls the gag out of her mouth, coughing.
You should have killed me in front of the coven, Roz. Killing me like this is going to haunt you for the rest of your life.
I backhand her with everything I have. She crumples to the ground, crying. I catch her face in my hands, my fingers digging into her cheeks as I pull her up off the cool ground. Not only did the couple you mutilate happen to be two of my regulars, they also happen to be two of my lovers. That's no coincidence. You decided to make this personal. So, you get my personal touch on your fate. I shoved Margo's face away from me and turned to Roz. You ready to start this? You know you don't have to stay here for it. She shakes her head too fast to be sure of herself.
No, if this is going to happen, then I need to see it.
Dethroned High Priestess thinks she must watch the evil just because she's helping dish it out? I'm a little impressed, but also disgusted.
It's not surprising at all if you really ever knew me.
I step closer, the heat of the torch caressing my cheek. Less than a foot away from Roz, her nervousness and guilt sweep over me. I inhale and settle into it like a blanket out of the dryer. I know Roz never wanted to get this close to the dirty work. She learned the hard way coming into her status that sometimes it's necessary, but never do it yourself. I'm the exact opposite. Never ask someone to do something you're not willing to do. Keeps me from needing anyone or anyone knowing my secrets. Oh, I know you, Rosalind. Probably better than anyone else. Something passes over her face. A softness I hadn't seen in years, not since we were kids. The light in her eyes used to be enough to chase away my bad days, but that was the time before my mother died. I wonder how things would be different if my mother was still with us. But my mother's dead, and her coven's the culprit. Or, if I'm to believe their bullshit, at least an accessory. The cops may have quit looking for answers, but I never will.
There, see? For a moment, you forgot you hated me. It only lasted half a second, but it was there. We don't have to keep fighting like this, Jade.
We turned to see Margo standing at the edge of the firelight, a small cloud of smoke rising and growing over her. Damn it! She waited until we were distracted. I can't believe neither of us searched her for another vial of her smoke magic. Domino! The howlers sweep through the darkness and toward Margo. Margo screams as the howlers growl and snap, the smoke engulfing them all. We move closer to try to see what is happening. It's almost like a damn cartoon with howler paws and tails flinging out of the smoke, an arm or leg of Margo's kicking or slapping out of the chaos. A horrifying thought crosses my mind. What if a piece of Margo ends up transported to wherever she was escaping to? It's almost hilarious that the threat of someone knowing we killed her didn't accompany yet. Oh God, please let them stop her in time. The smoke clears and I see the hind legs and tails of howlers first. Then I see the mess of Margo's limbs and her face. Her eyes are lit by the torch, but there's no one home. Looks like someone ruined your fun, Dom. Domino snaps at the howler that ended Margo before they could torture her more. It annoys the pack, but that just means we get to go home sooner. I push my magic out towards the howlers, opening the line that binds me to them. Eat. Eat and have your revenge. I don't have to tell them twice. As I turn to face Roz, they tear into Margo's body. The sound is enough to make me vomit, but I keep it together. If Roz can do it, then so can I. You don't have to watch this part.
They won't eat everything.
No, but Mr. Giggles will. I sent out the call when we left the circle. He should be here shortly after they get their fill. Roz's glossy eyes twinkle with the tears threatening to spill over.
Where did I go wrong?
Shit. I could handle her when she was all righteous and just. I don't feel like dealing with a crying high priestess. You can't make everyone happy, Roz. You were doing the right thing. Then again, I don't have a clue what you were actually doing, so maybe I'm wrong. But this had to be done. You may not ever sleep well again, but you did what needed to be done. She nods but says nothing, just watches as they eat. I don't need to prove anything out here, to her or myself. I back up and give the howlers their space. Mr. Giggles arrives just a few minutes later. He finishes what's left. After instructing him to go wash off in a nearby creek, I return to Roz and see that something's changed in her. I mean, how could it not? She just stood there and watched her right-hand witch get eaten. There are two possible outcomes from this. Either it breaks her or makes her stronger. Roz hands me the torch and stares me dead in the eye.
Our business is done for now, Jade. We will summon you when a decision has been made.
With that, she walks off into the darkness of the mountain, trailing behind her a wisp of her power. Not that shit that she conjures from her goddess, but her natural energy she's been holding back for so long. Even in the pitch of night, I see its tendrils dancing through the trees as she leaves. She's as graceful as the howlers. Her steps make no sounds. Break her or make her stronger? I'm not sure which this did, but I have a horrible feeling I'm going to find out the hard way.